Kevin, I do believe on the down end of cycles are the greatest opportunities. And during we grew during the pandemic. Look, you got to pull the trigger, but just aim before you shoot. You write a book, not hopefully. Look, if you're selling millions of copies, that gentleman Alex Moses told you about earlier this month, he sold his book, his third book, and he sold 3 million copies in 48 hours.
We were in negotiations.
Investing in real estate, they're winning, they're making money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Real Estate Educators Podcast, where we provide the education you can build on. I am your host, Kevin Amolsch. We're having so much fun and we're doing it again. If you're out there building a rental portfolio, investing in real estate, or are you out there educating other investors, maybe trying to attract some business, some lead flow, something like that, this is the podcast for you. I have another super special guest. Over 17 years of experience with a high concentration or a high focus on the commercial sector. In fact, one of the top commercial real estate brokerage coaching companies in the country. So welcome, Rod Santomassimo. How you doing, Rod?
Santomassimo.
Massimo.
Kevin, I've got to correct you right at the bat. We're not one of the top commercial real estate coaching companies in the country. We're actually the top commercial real estate coaching company in the world. That's our clients are all over the world, and we coach commercial real estate professionals, mostly brokers and mortgage brokers. But I always got a quick correction.
Well, that's even better. So you have a lot you could add. Now, I know absolutely nothing about real estate outside of the United States, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to even ask you intelligent questions about your world operation.
It's all the same.
Okay.
It's the same challenges. It's all the same. It's all the same.
Well, take me back, man. How did you get involved in real estate and specifically on the commercial side of it?
Believe it or not, my late father had me reading leases when I was around 11 years old, and I cursed him. I'm sure under my breath for it. But he told me this is the way the world works. He was an architect turned consultant, never a broker, but turned consultant, and he would consult with mostly on construction projects and property owners. And so that was my foray, and all my summers were spent on commercial real estate projects, construction, development, golfer, property, paving driveways, everything. So I guess it was 1985, when I left college on my way to grad school, I looked at my father and told him I will never be in commercial real estate for the rest of my life. And that's a whole different.
Look at you now. So you had a real life rich dad. Your dad actually was your rich dad.
Yeah, he wasn't rich, but
he was the mentor for you.
That's
what
mentor.
I mean by that.
Yeah, my dad was my mentor, without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah, so many people. I mean, so I say the rich dad, Rod, only because it comes up so frequently, like how people got excited about real estate and how you got into it. So a lot of people say, well, it's because of this one individual.
Right.
And we would say, okay, well, that's your rich dad from the book, of course. But your mentor, your rich dad was actually your father. So that's pretty special.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you learned a lot. So you went right from doing what into commercial? It sounds like you passed residential investing completely.
Completely. I never invested. I mean, besides my own homes, I've never invested in residential. All my investments have been on the commercial side. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting because a lot of people don't go that path. As you know, they start small, one little condo, one little townhome, and then they kind of progress into the commercial side.
Well, that's a great way to start. And in many cases, a better return than commercial. So yes.
So you operate a brokerage now, or is it strictly the education side?
No, it's strict. We have way too many clients and way too many responsibilities. I used to broker back in the day, but I don't think I've brokered. I'm a licensed broker, but I haven't brokered a transaction in easily over two decades, easily.
Okay.
So no, we have 41 coaches today coaching my stuff with hundreds of clients across the world. So yeah, I'm pretty busy just being the CEO of this company.
And it's been doing that for 17 years. So I know exactly when you started, and that was at the beginning of the credit crash.
That was the best time to start a company. Hey, I can coach you, and everyone would say I have no money. So, yeah. But Kevin, I do believe on the down end of cycles are the greatest opportunities. And during the we grew during the pandemic. During the freaking pandemic, we grew, and we've not grown one single year in 17 years. So there's always opportunity, always opportunity.
So you haven't not grown in all 17 years? Every year you've had positive growth.
Yeah, no, we've always had positive growth. There's
That's
never been a
amazing.
year ever we made less on the top or the bottom, more importantly, than the year before in 17.
That's really impressive. So we had that track record until very recently when we were really stable one year. But we've sort of always grown also. It's very hard to be consistent with that.
And when you think in small businesses, including investment businesses, over half the business in the U.S. don't make money. That's a true stat. They barely break even. So congratulations to you. That's a phenomenal feat.
Well, thank you. Yours is better, but thank you. All right. So I got to ask the question, man, the elephant in the room. We just went through a pretty challenging time in commercial real estate. I experienced it. A lot of my clients experienced it. Cap rates come flying through the roof with all the interest rates in 2022. I think it's sort of settling in now. Maybe you could share your thoughts on that. But tell me, how do you grow through a time like that?
Well, again, we look, especially in brokerage, our clients, there are three types of responses to any downswing, right? The first one is panic, and that happens. It just is what it is, and they're gone. The worst is the petrified, the indecisive, and they're stuck, and that's what happens. But the proactive are the ones that are finding the deals, refinancing where they need to, taking the risks because they're in for the long-term hold. Those three personalities are proactive in every cycle, including the pandemic. Even now, look, now's not a terrible time. Now's not compared to historically with you and me. I'm much older than you, so I have many more down cycles. But this is a great time in respective to everything else that we dealt with so far in the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I got started in 2000. You're just going to surprise you probably, but 2001. So right during the .com
.com
right?
bubble.
And
Yeah.
then, and then you had the 9/11 that really tanked the housing. And then obviously through 2008, and I started this company in 2008. So I agree with everything you're saying. And then the pandemic. So I've seen a little bit also. But you're right. I am starting to see some more opportunities in the commercial, and more people are starting to have a little bit more confidence, even in sectors like the scary office.
Yeah, no, those people don't exist in New York right now. I'll tell you that. Of all the markets, the New York office market is not. Now, the conversion market in New York is phenomenal. It is. You're seeing more and more conversions. That's going to continue to happen. Those opportunities are there. But yes, office, back to work, it is happening. It's happening, and people are feeling it happening. And you're starting to see more and more investments in office nationwide. But still, of all the sector types, right now, that's the most cautious of all.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it might be at or near the bottom, and that's what I'm seeing. Even the urban. So you went to New York because I knew you were East Coast. I didn't know where exactly. So you must be in New York. But obviously, that urban office is still struggling. I mean, we're seeing 200,000 square feet buildings trade for $3 million, right? So that's pretty insane. But I should have been more clear. The suburban office has really rebounded, at least in the markets I see. What are you seeing?
Yeah, and look, I was touring a space office building in Phoenix. It was about a year ago now, and it was owned by a firm out of New York, and we knew that price was probably 2x where it should be, and we pulled back, and thank goodness.
You're right.
I heard it recently sold not for 1.2x, but for actually 50 cents on the dollar versus what we thought it would be worth. So yeah, suburban office, any office, you got to find the right sectors to really look and understand the market. So I'm sure your investors, look, you got to pull the trigger, but just aim before you shoot. That's what we're saying.
That's a great point. I'm going to actually write that down. Aim first. I want to get into what you do to help your clients and what information I could extract from you that might help our listener. So when you're going through, and I know you sort of laid it out, the three options, someone that's going through a recession, I want to say recession. That's not a good way to ask my question. But when there's troubled waters, there's really three reactions as you described it. So how would you coach your brokers to go through a situation like that and take advantage of those opportunities?
Well, the first thing we share with everyone is, and this is the problem with brokerage end, even with investors and looking at who you're going to acquire or the seller, or if you're the buyer, the equation we use every day with our clients is very simple. Real life is greater than real estate. If you can stick to that principle, you're going to make your clients much more comfortable in working with you. You will. And from an investor standpoint, if you focus on the real life motivations, why a transaction is pending or likely versus the real estate, well, the cap rate's wrong or the square footage is not got a deal, the parking ratios, focus on the real life elements, right? All that real estate stuff, I get it. But when you focus on the real life elements, hey, look, this guy's just lost his wife. Hey, look, these investor pools are really looking for more liquidity at this point in time. It's not the right asset class for them. Figure those things out first and foremost. Everything else will take care of itself. And if you buy, okay, let's say you buy wrong, for lack of a better term. You buy wrong, right? It's high, unless you really buy wrong, then okay, you bought in the wrong market. You did. But it's likely the market will rebound in most of these markets and you're going to be okay in the long term. But if you're a short-term holder and a flipper, I'm sure many of your residential clients are flippers. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so what's their hold period?
6 months.
5 months. Okay, so the market's not going to, what's the only thing that's going to shift in 6 months? What is it, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, maybe interest rates, but
that's the only thing that's going to slip in 6 months. In commercial, can you wait 3 years, 5 years, 7 years? Things will evolve if you pick the right location. They will.
Yeah, I actually just published an article about this. The real danger in real estate is that midterm. Like when you're 3 to 5 years, and I hear it all the time. My horizon is 3 to 5 years. Well, that's the scariest thing for me to hear, because now you're getting yourself into a position where you might have rode the market down without enough time to rebound, and you might be forced to sell, and you never want to be in that position. So I just wrote an article about this. The real short-term fix and flip, you're pretty well insulated from market movement because you're buying and selling in the same market. And the long horizon, 10 or more years, you're pretty safe also.
Right.
So that's exactly what you were saying. I love this. Real estate is greater than, real life is greater than real estate. So what you're saying, and I've learned this, the relationship matters more than the transaction.
The relationship, and also the better way, maybe the more refined way from my mentor is the situation is the key to everything. Do you know the situation of that seller, the buyer, everything, the situation? And I'm not talking about the real estate. I'm talking about the real life situation. Once you figure that out, it's pretty. And so why did our brokers able to survive and thrive during the pandemic when velocity was so much compressed, right? Because they focus on the situations with their owners. Did they transact as much? No. But were they long-term, their resource going forward? Absolutely. Yes. They were. So the situation is everything. We see that in every occurrence, you fail to understand the situation. It's that simple. And that's why things didn't happen.
It's like Einstein says, he wasn't the smartest guy, but he might not have been the smartest man in the room, which is true, but he was the most curious.
Yes. But he was damn smart too.
Yeah, he was damn smart too. Hey, that was his quote, not mine. Yeah, my coaches always tell me, just be curious. Like, just post it up on the wall, just be curious. And that's winning friends and influencing people, right? The more curious you are, the more friends and more influence you have.
Yeah, so you have 3 choices in curiosity, right? Because you only have 3 choices. And one is be arrogant. Ooh, you're never going to forget it. You're going to lose so many deals on that basis alone. Be arrogant. Right. And we're all ignorant. You're ignorant. I'm ignorant, right? The theory, we all don't know. We don't know. That's the definition of ignorance, by the way. I don't know. But if you're ignorant, just be curious and you'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
So is that one of the keys to being successful in sales?
I think it's 100%. I think there's 2 really important. If you can figure out these 2 in sales, you will absolutely kill it. You will. One, yes, the curiosity, because the curiosity gives you the ability to ask, deep questions, understanding the situation. That curiosity will give you what you need to see how you can help. I believe, Kevin, in any sales role, your job is not to sell. I don't care if you're selling cars or you're selling coaching or you're selling flipping houses. Your job is not to sell. Your job is to put that person in a better position to make a more educated decision. That's it. And that curiosity and the questions will get this. Number 1, curiosity. Did I get you in a better position to make a more educated decision? If I did, it's maybe with me, maybe not. If it's not with me, you made a poor decision because everything I just shared with you, but that's what it is. Second, though, the most important of all is you gotta have the conviction. Oh my goodness. You gotta know this. You gotta know when you're gonna sell a flipped house, why that investor needs this house, right? When I'm selling coaching, I gotta share with that prospect, man, this guy, he believes it. He truly believes I'm gonna change his life. Because I do. I believe I'm gonna change your life. If you wanna talk to me, I'm gonna change your life. Total conviction of what you do. And that's where, especially on the brokerage end, many brokers lack. They don't get it.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at this, and I just wrote those down, and I'm like, oh, that's 2 C's. So you're the double C here. But what if I threw another one in here? What about another C? What about care? Like, do you care about your client and the best results for them?
Oh, 1,000%. And I guess because the curiosity, I think, would bring the showing that you do care versus you trying to make a sale, right? But yeah, you have to care. If you don't care, if you're in for the sale, again, you don't care about their situation. Back to that word, right? So then I'm a transaction guy. Gosh, that's terrible. That's a tough place to be in.
Yeah, and that is where so many people fall, especially in the real estate industry. And I'm sure you see that constantly. And I'll just share this with the listener. Before I started Pine, and it was about 2006, Rod, I was a mortgage broker, and I was brokering private money. So I had my regular conventional Fannie Mae, FHA, Freddie Mac, and then I had my private capital over here that was doing the fix and flip. And I was doing both. And I was so desperate for fees and commissions just to pay my mortgage, that I was focused on that. And it was a really tough grind. And then just studying and working with other successful business owners, I did make the shift, and I remember it. Like, I don't care if I get paid on this or not. I want to do what's best for them. And then all of a sudden I started making more and more and more money. So that was one thing that I learned. And then also focus. I was on 2 paths.
Yeah.
Once I narrowed that in on just the private lending side and let the broker side go, then I really started having success too. So I don't know why I'm sharing that with you, but when I heard you say that, those are 2 things that really impacted my career.
Yeah, if I see an entrepreneur or broker who does this on the side and that on the side, I'm like, look,
it's not going to work.
We just can't help you. You don't have the conviction, and you got and here's the commitment. This is what I do.
That's 4 C's. This episode is brought to you by Pine Financial Group. Pine Financial is a private lender specializing in short-term rehab lending to real estate investors. Got a property that needs some love? We can help. We are able to offer funding solutions because we raise private money from individual investors. With more than 15 years of experience, Pine offers passive investors an alternative that provides stability, consistency, and security to your portfolio. If you like real estate but want to avoid the ups and downs and effort, a Pine mortgage fund could be a perfect fit for you. Accredited investors will experience an 8% preferred return and profit sharing. Diversify your portfolio out of Wall Street and into Main Street with a Pine Financial Group mortgage fund. Get more information at pinefinancialgroup.com. That's pinefinancialgroup.com. All right, so you work with commercial brokers and brokerages, and you help them become successful. You're obviously very good at what you do because you're the top in the entire world. 17 years of doing this. So tell me a little bit about the program. Like, how do you benefit from working with you?
Well, every situation is different, right? But every broker, by law, by most brokers are independent contractors, means they're the CEO of their own business, like we all are, right? And every business has the basic 5 divisions of sales, marketing, operations, HR, and finance. Sales, marketing, operations, HR, finance. Every business has those elements. And today operations includes AI. So what we find is we break it down for individual brokers and say, look, you're now the CEO. Let's start building a business versus you living on the transaction treadmill, we call it, and just chasing deals. Let's build a business around you. Processes, maybe people. Today it's AI bots that can help them start focusing on growing versus simply transacting. Big difference. It just is. So most of our clients make significantly more money, but in less time, because when you're in the weeds, there's no option to grow. There just isn't. So we focus on building businesses and processes, implementing the right people, and today the right AI technology. So for example, Kevin, today our clients will market and prospect more with AI bots than with themselves. Our clients are spending time with their kids at a sporting event while their bots are answering phone calls and answering the same questions. What's the cap rate? What's this? What's that? I don't need to answer the same question 1,000 times. My bot can do that today. And believe it or not, investors have gone from, we've been testing this now for a year and a half. We're actually launching it later this month with our clients, or we've been testing it with our clients, launching to the public later this month. But we went from investors not wanting to talk to bots at all, refusing, and even texting, forget it. Today, it's becoming more a common practice. So, and the bots have gotten so much better. Oh, so much better.
And so you, this is great because I just read a statistic. I'm like fascinated by AI, but I'm technology challenged.
Okay.
So this has been a very difficult thing for me, and I am putting some energy into it. What I ended up doing is hiring someone for the company to just implement AI. So that's how I handled it.
And that's how I handle it, by the way.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I read this, Rod, that like over 95%, I don't know the statistic, but I know it's over 95% of CEOs believe that AI is important and they need to implement that into their company. Less than 5% actually are doing it.
I read the same study.
Okay, so you saw the same one. And I was like, this is so fascinating. So if I came to you and I was like, okay, I'm going to build this thing out. I want to build my 5 divisions. I love the idea of prospecting with AI, but I have no idea how to do that. Does your program like do a little hand holding, or what do I expect from you?
Yeah, well, first of all, we're a coaching, not training. And this is going to sound really corny.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good distinction.
So training is the transformation of information. That's what it is. That's what training is. Hey, check this information out. Go do it, right? That's what that is. Coaching is the implementation of that information, and that leads to the transformation. That's the magic. You have to have an accountability partner and someone to share with you. This is how you need to do it. This is how we're going to do it. You're going to do it. Let's do it again. Let's try it differently this time. Let's do it again until it becomes a staple of your business. So that's, I never wanted to train, and we don't train. So we just coach. That's what we do. So that's the big difference. And when it comes to AI, we built the platforms and we show them how to use them so they can leverage that. But mostly it's, again, so there's a gentleman, I don't know if you know this gentleman, you know Alex Hormozy at all?
Do not.
Okay, he just, I will share with you. He has the #1 business podcast in America. It's called The Game. He's like 30 something years old, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But he shared this. Look, so if our broker clients, or anyone out there, your listeners, let's say today you're making, I'm gonna make these numbers up, they're gonna be higher or lower. You're making $200,000, right? Well, let's take Massimo. Today, Massimo is a $8 million company. Okay, drives me crazy, absolutely crazy. We should be 12, easily should be 12. But let's say 10 for math. So that means is I'm at 8, I want to get to 10 million, or maybe you're at 200,000 to 500,000. That gap, that what you have not earned, that you know you want to earn, because you don't know how to earn it. That's all it tells me, is you don't know how to earn it yet. That's all. Just like our coaching clients. One of our most famous coaching clients, if that's such a thing in brokerage, is a gentleman named Bob Knackel. He has sold more buildings than anyone in the history of New York City. In fact, we just aligned for co-authoring my last book, Selling Buildings. There's a little
Okay, cool.
Selling Buildings, Bob Knackel. When I first met Bob, the dude was making $6 million a year. $6 million a year. Oh my goodness. And Kevin, I told my wife, how can I help this guy? I don't know.
Yeah. But he still wants coaching.
He still wants coaching. He wants to get
It's
better.
amazing.
But in 2.5 years, we were up to 18 million. So that $12 million gap over 2 years is worth $24 million. I charge him, I'm trying to make close.
Yeah, charge him enough.
So that was the point. So if I can learn how to go from 8 million to 10 million, right? And that's what it costs me every year. So after 3 years, that's a $6 million ignorance tax. I don't know, right? So if someone you're listening to, you're at 200,000 to 500,000, in 3 years, that's $900,000 that you haven't earned because you don't know how.
Yeah.
So that's where the coaching comes into play, is I got to accelerate my knowledge with people that have been there and done that. We have to show them this is how you get the gap. And so if you want to flip 10 houses and currently you're flipping 3, it's because you don't know how to flip the next 7. That's what it means. So you need someone to tell you and show you This is how you flip 10, 20, 40 houses a year. This is the processes. This is the practice. These are the people. These are the platforms. This is how you do it. That's the difference.
Yeah, when I listen to you say this, I'm thinking about Michael Jordan. And I don't know, I know that sounds so crazy, but you think about someone like that, my opinion, the best basketball player to ever live. He had a coach, right? Like,
Yeah.
how can Michael Jordan learn something about basketball from a coach? That's not what he was doing. He was trying to learn the prep, the dieting, the preparation, all of the other stuff that goes with it, the accountability, right? So he had a coach. Why shouldn't we have a coach, right? And in your example, you're probably even learning from some of your students. They're so good and they want to still get coached.
1,000%. Absolutely. I'm learning more on the brokerage end, right? Than I am anything else. So yes, it's a two-way street. And yes, although I went to grad school at Duke and you brought up Michael Jordan, that's okay. I get it. but I do agree. He's the greatest basketball player of all time, right? But what did he tell him and Kobe? What did they always say? What do I do better than anybody else? It's the fundamentals. Because I can't do just that and excel at that, I can't get better because my baseline's weak. So many people just ignore the fundamentals. So what are the fundamentals of flipping a house? Do you practice them every single time you do try? Yes or no?
Yeah. And if not, then maybe coaching will help you get there.
Right. Maybe coaching will help reinforce the fundamentals and then grow from there. Try something new, a different approach.
So is the coaching program that you do then a lot of one-on-one, it sounds like?
Depends on the individual. We have 2 or we have 3 programs. For those who want me to coach them, it's a totally different situation. And Bob Knackel actually is my only one-on-one client that I coach. Our 40 coaches handle the rest. Most of our clients go into our group coaching program. It's a lower investment point, right? They're not ready to take on the one-on-one, but we do have an offer of one-on-one coaching as well. That the higher earners tend to go there. They want to get more accountability, and we see this is a fact. This is what it is. One-on-one coaching creates a much stronger result, much quicker than group coaching because of the accountability.
Yeah, I've done them both, and I can tell you, I won't do the group coaching again. Maybe on a ski slope or something, but not in business.
Yeah, there you go. That's a perfect example. Yeah, right. Ski slope, sure.
Yep. I think the one-on-one is essential.
But that group coaching says, let's go to Black Diamonds. You're going to go, wait.
Yeah.
I would at least. I go, I'm not ready for that because I need one-on-one attention.
Yeah, and I will say, and I don't think you will argue with me here or anybody listening, but the highest return on your investment, ROI, is investing in your own self.
There's, if Buffett says it, I gotta believe it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let me give you an example. One of our one-on-one program is around $30,000. So a prospect, I listen to calls of our salespeople and everything else. So I love listening to them. They said $30,000. You gotta be kidding me. So it's a great question. So if you were to invest $30,000 today in the stock market, what would be your return in 3 years?
Right.
Well, 7%, compounded $23,000 or something like that, right? So, right, in 3 years on the stock market. So, so Kevin, what kind of returns do you get when you flip houses? What's your returns?
And they're really high.
So how high?
So they're a little bit lower than they have been, but I'd say you could see return on your investment of a couple 100%.
So 200%, right?
Yeah. So I'm just interested because you asked me, and I'm a high leverage lender, so our clients come in with very little capital usually. But anyway,
okay. So look,
several 100%.
You can multiply through flipping houses. You can multiply your investment dollars. Well, that's the same thing with coaching and personal development. You're going to multiply your investments. It's not going to be I made 7-8%. No. Right. And what I love about coaching, and most of our clients get this. It's one of the rare investments you can make that you can actually control the return. You can. If you want to commit and do everything, you're going to get the results. If you don't want to commit, you're going to get a lesser result. That's just the way it works in coaching. So, and not just us, all coaching programs, you can control the return based on what you put in.
Yes. All coaching programs will have a high ROI and you can control it, and you could control any downside. There's be literally no negative returns on it as long as you actually implement.
And you did your homework on the
Yeah, exactly. You
verified
got to
coaching
actually
platform.
do
Yeah.
what you said you're going to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So education and coaching both are highly profitable investments.
They are.
Let's talk about your books, because I know we're short on time here. So you're the best-selling author of 5 books. You told us a little bit about one. Is there any, I don't know the best way to do this, Rob, is you want to just rattle off the 5 and let's talk about your favorite one?
Oh, that's my favorite child. Okay. So,
I've written 2 and I'm actually publishing 3 this year. So I
there you
know
go.
that was a tough question.
So my very first book was in 2012, Brokers Who Dominate, Commercial Real Estate Brokers Who Dominate. That book still sells multiple copies every day since 2012. So that may be my favorite one.
Congratulations.
My first
That
one.
is not easy to do.
And that's not easy to do, but it sells copies every day. Then I wrote a book about teams built to dominate. That was a niche book. I knew it wouldn't be a big seller. Then I wrote my third book, which is probably my favorite book, Knowing Isn't Doing, which was not a commercial real estate book. It was a sales book. It hit #1 in sales in the US when we launched it. It was pretty freaking cool.
That's amazing.
Knowing Isn't Doing. And I lay out everything. Well, not everything. I lay out a lot of our Massimo methods. Do this and you'll make money. It's called Knowing Isn't Doing. Then I wrote a sequel to Brokers Who Dominate a few years back. That did okay. And then Bob Nackle and I just published this year, Selling Buildings. It's both a investor guide to the pros and cons and best practices of selling buildings, and a broker guide to best practices to helping investors sell buildings. And that one hit #1 in real estate investments, and that's still selling. But my favorite one, believe it or not, is probably Knowing Isn't Doing.
Yeah, you already called that out. You said Knowing Isn't Doing before you gave me the title. It was your favorite. So you knew what it was. You knew the answer.
It is.
Right,
And now it's my best selling. It was initially, but Brokers down stuff. But I love that book. I love sharing everything we do, and that's training. Here's the information. But as the title says, Knowing Isn't Doing.
Knowing Isn't Doing. Well, we're going to make sure we put the link to that in the show notes. So short on time here, but I want to dig into the books a little bit and what benefit you personally or your companies have received from writing books. And the reason I ask this is because I know with some confidence that it's not about the money that you sell the books and how much money you're getting in royalties or any of that. There's outside benefit to being an author. So can you share it with the audience a little bit about the benefits to go ahead and write a book?
Yeah, a book or an event. Like we're doing the biggest event in our history in November. And my wife's like, are we going to make money on this? I'm like, on the event, maybe not.
Probably not. Yeah.
But afterwards, the coaching will sell. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the same with a book. You write a book, not hopefully. Look, if you're selling millions of copies, that gentleman Alex Moses told you about earlier this month, he sold his book, his third book, and he sold 3 million copies in 48 hours. So that
Okay, he probably made some money.
They made at $20 a pop. He made a lot of money, right? So, but you just do it to get your name out. It's a presence play, but more than a presence play, Kevin, for us and for all book writers, it should be an authority play, because you don't want to select a commodity to help you grow. You want to select an authority. And whether we like it or not, books and the success of a book positions you as an authority. It definitely was my first book. I was a nobody when I wrote it. I really was. No one knew who I was. And it launched it was 4 years later, but it really launched the Massimo Group to a different tier. It did. And to this day, we still have people saying, how do you know about Massimo? I read Brokers Who Dominate. Well,
That's amazing.
15 years old.
And it just sits there. It's like one of those things when the work is done, it's done.
Yeah. It just goes on forever. Just like a social post or a YouTube video. Once you do it, it's going to be there forever. So, yeah.
And I found it, speaking of AI, I found it very helpful to upload my books into chat. And then I could ask it, like, can you help me write this blog post or whatever? And it has context because it's seen how I write. So, I mean, it's a total side benefit, but it's...
Yeah, as long as you don't cut it, copy and paste it, that's the worst, the no-no. But, and even what you probably found out, and I love on Audible, they have a new thing now where you can upload your books. Because like Knowing Isn't Doing, I spent 3 days in a studio, couldn't talk after 3 days, just gave my audiobook. Now with Audible, they say, do you want to do this automatically with AI, you say, okay, and you start selling audiobooks in 10 seconds. It's crazy. It's really
Oh,
crazy.
that's amazing. And can they do it in your voice?
No, they won't do it in your voice. But you could do it in your voice. The way around that is you go to 11 Labs as one of the, you would go to 11 Labs, they would get your voice, and then you go ahead and you upload, you create the file for it to generate the audio.
So 11 lab, like number 11?
No, it's actually written out 11 and then
11.
Labs.
11 labs. And so is that an AI that I guess it's an AI that gets your voice, you give it some samples, and then you upload like a transcript, and then it will, I guess,
you could do
reverse
that in a
transcribe
variety.
it?
You wouldn't do that transcript in 11 Labs, although you might be able to today. There's other tools like a Synthesia or a HiGen that you can do all that in. So yeah, and frankly, an individual developer that you can find on Upwork.com or Fiverr could do that for you in 10 minutes today.
Yeah, I had a human
Do I
being
want
read
someone?
my
Do I
first-
want someone owning my voice? Not
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm worried. I asked the question because I think that's really cool. And then I'm thinking, well, what if they say a word wrong, or what? I mean, does it a reflection on you? So I started thinking
it gets
about
it's a lot worse than that. What if they use your voice for not so good reasons, right? So
yeah, but I guess if you're anywhere public facing, they can get a hold of that voice anyway.
yeah, on the internet, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, for my first book, I went through. It was KDP now, I think, but it was
yeah.
Okay, so it was called something prior to that. I can't think of the name of it, but it's the Amazon self-publishing thing.
Yes, right. But now you can go to KDP right now and say, take that book and make it an audio book in 10
I might
seconds.
do that. I might, on my second book. The first one, I had a human being do it, and then we just share royalties. And so it didn't cost me anything. And I didn't write the book to make royalties, so it was perfect for me. And they just did it as a professional voiceover, and worked out for him too. So that's how I did it. But now that the AI, I don't think you need to pay anything.
No, you don't. And that's one of the negatives. I get it. That's one of the negatives of AI. It is replacing a lot of more than maybe we first thought, right? It's funny. We all thought it was going to replace all the low end jobs, and that's not the case. It's replacing all the high end jobs.
It's going to stop at McDonald's with the kiosk, but it didn't stop, did it? All right, I'm going to go through the last bit here because I know you got to get going. What I like to do here, Rod, is go through my notes of what I learned, and then you just listen in and tell me what else you could add that maybe I didn't ask you or I missed.
Let's
and then
do it.
Start thinking about maybe a final piece of advice for our listener. So your very first piece of advice after we got to know you a little bit was to be sure you aim first. So don't just go out there and fire. I really love that. And when I got started in this, I was a ready, fire, aim guy. And that's how a lot of entrepreneurs are. So it's hard to reel that in sometimes. Real life is greater than real estate. We spend a little bit of time on that. I even said, it's better. The relationships might be more important than the transaction. Situation is the key to everything. You really hounded on that. So this is an important point here. Situation is important. We talked about the 4 C's: curiosity, conviction, care, and commitment. You did mention the 5 divisions of any company: sales, marketing, ops, finance, and HR, and how AI is helping with that, not necessarily taking over, but it is definitely supplementing. Learn to prospect with AI, which I was going to dig into more, but we just ran out of time. Your book, the one that we should, your favorite book that we should probably read them all, but the one that we're going to start with is Knowing Isn't Doing. And then we talked about your books and how it's helped you. Books are great for a presence play, but even more than that, the authority play. So you have instant authority if you could say you're an author, but it's also good to get it out there and market your business, because if people see it and read it, like you're getting deals right now and leads right now from it. And then we talked a little bit about 11 Labs and doing Audible books. Mm-hmm. So how did it go? How did I do?
You did fantastic. Great note taking. The one thing I would add that we talked about the idea of this ignorance tax, and what you don't know is holding you back and costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the best way to do that is align yourself with people that do know, not necessarily a coach, without, if you're in commercial real estate brokerage, we can help. But in any aspect, read from an expert, like one of your books, help get advice from an expert. But if you're ignorant to how to grow, the fastest way to solve that is getting help.
That's awesome. So the ignorant sex. I think I forgot to write that one down because you literally called me ignorant when you were starting that.
I didn't call you ignorant.
I'm just kidding. All right. Is there any final piece of advice before we get your contact info?
No, look, I agree. Knowing isn't doing. We just shared some advice for you all. Kevin continues in his podcast to give you all great advice, great ideas. Doesn't matter. It's nothing. Its value is zero unless you go out and implement. Again, implementation is the route to transformation, not information. So go ahead and do that.
I love that. Implementation. And apologies for getting that wrong. You were totally right when I said the coaching and I was leading into a education question, and I apologize. Should not have done that. There is very different. All right, cool. How do we get a hold of you?
Massimo, MASSIMO.coach is the quickest way. You can learn all about us from there. But look, I'm excited for you. I'm excited what you're doing. But look, both of us have been around in our business in 2008. So Kevin, that's saying something.
And we're about the same size too. After you told me your revenue number, I was like, yeah, this is we're sort of maybe the same trajectory. Sounds like
probably
pretty amazing. All right,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I know you're busy and you got to run, but I really want to just say, appreciate your time. You've lots going on. You're running a pretty big and successful organization, and you came on our show, and we really appreciate you added value for sure. And for the listener, gosh, there's lots of podcasts out there. We're competing with a lot of them, and you chose to listen into the Real Estate Educators podcast. And for that, I am so grateful. I know you got some value from this one. This guy has been in the business a long, long time. If you did get some value, 5-star review, share it with a friend, and I hope you make this day a great one. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please be sure to follow and leave us a review. Oh yeah, and tell a friend.